Hello, my name is Jason, and today we're going to be talking about Peter Bruegel's work, The Fall of Icarus. Now, throughout the 1500s, most paintings depicted intense religious scenes, such as the ones here, Adoration of the Magi, Expulsion from the Garden, and the Gardens of Earthly Delights. However, the artist Peter Bruegel offered new subject matters centered around normal working peasants, while interjecting some Northern European proverbs in there as well. One such subject that he decided to work on is his own depiction of the Greek myth of Icarus and Daedalus in his painting Landscape with the Fall of Icarus. Now, in this myth, it is a famous Greek myth where a man named Daedalus and his son Icarus plan to escape their imprisonment from a king by creating wings from the feathers of birds. Despite the warnings of Daedalus, Icarus flies too high to the sun during their flight, melting the wax holding together his wings, causing him to plummet to his death. This was a famous tale on the pitfalls of one's hubris, and Peter Bruegel excellently captures the major themes in this story. So we're going to be investigating a brief history of the artist Peter Bruegel, go over the excellence of his painting, The Landscape with the Fall of Icarus, and investigate the deeper meanings behind his painting. Now, a brief history on Peter Bruegel. He lived from 1525 to 1569. This was during the early Renaissance period while he lived in Northern Europe. Although little is known about the artist's life, most of what is known from him is an unfinished puzzle from various old books, documents, and letters. What we do know is that he was apprenticed by a Peter Koch van Alst, a leading Antwerp artist located in Brussels, which was the capital of Belgium. Peter's master owned a large workshop that worked on a wide variety of art forms, including sculpture, stained glass windows, and of course, paintings. Then, in 1551, Bruegel left his apprenticeship and traveled to Italy for the first time to develop his artistic skills, and later returning home to create some of his most well-known works. So he was able to create a lot of paintings in his lifetime, many including religious scenes and whatnot, but his main focus was that of peasants and peasant life. As we can see here, Netherlandish proverbs, children's games, and the peasant wedding all are of everyday life. And of course, he also loved to depict Netherlandish proverbs, as the name of the painting that we're going to be talking about really quickly, in his works. So, in his painting, the Netherlandish proverbs, we can see just all throughout the composition are various proverbs, some of which are very amusing to look at and find. However, so one of his most well-known paintings, The Fall of Icarus, poses the question, what, if anything, will become of our greatest hopes and dreams? So, immediately looking at this painting, it is an oil-on-canvas painting, 2 feet by 5 inches by 3 feet and 8 inches, painted in 1560. As we can see here, it has mostly muted color palette, lots of greens and yellows, giving it almost dreamlike haze. This is the plowman in red starkly contrasts with this mostly green background. Our eyes are instantly drawn to him and that area of the composition. Bruegel was apparently inspired by the famous Roman poet Ovid's perspective on the famous myth in Book 8 of his publication Metamorphoses in the 8th century. Quote, "These, as the angler at the silent brook, or mountain shepherd leading on his crook, or gaping ploughman from the vale descries, they stare and view him with religious eyes, and straight conclude am God, since none but they, thro' their own azure skies, could find a way." End quote. And of course, as we can see here, the angler is in the right bottom corner, the shepherd gazing up at the sky here, and of course the plowman tending to his field right in front of us. Now, in addition to these 3 main characters that were noted in the poem, of course we have a sail ship, in the back, and as well as a town in the distance. However, very deceptively hidden is Icarus in the bottom right corner, drowning to his death, which ties into the deeper undertones behind this painting. So, although at first glance you can't quite catch it, in the left corner of the painting, see here there is the head of a corpse poking out through the bushes over there. And this highlights the proverb, quote, "No plow stops because a man dies." And this is the overall main theme of this painting. Despite such a great feat of flight being accomplished by Icarus and a horrible tragedy of death of a young man, the ships still sail, the fishermen still fish, the shepherds still herd their flock, and the plowmen keep tending to their fields without ceasing. The composition that draws our attention to the plowman, while Icarus drowns in the rest of the details, highlights the lesson of how insignificant our lives and accomplishments can truly be. So, in conclusion, Peter Bruegel is an artist who appears to have almost been lost to history due to how little is known about him. However, his experiences and skills led to the creation of his masterpiece, The Fall of Icarus, which details a scene bathed in both simplistic beauty and horrible tragedy. In the extremely deceptive composition that pulls the viewer away from the main event taking place, the death of Icarus, one can't help but be amused with his magician-like sleight of hand, leaving us pondering the deeper meanings behind this brilliant work. Thank you very much.